Yeah, my next door neighbour he was clearing out his garden, he was moving house, and it was in the middle of his driveway with a plant pot on top of it and a spade lent against it. And I saw it and I was like, whoa. I knocked on his door. I was a bit cheeky really. I was like, what? I was hoping to buy it off him really, that was kind of the vibe. I was like, what are you doing with that? And he walked over to it, oh, these old speakers, and he like kicked the side of it. He was like, oh, it's, you know, my mate gave me it 20 years ago. You can have it. I was like,
wow.
Fair. But then I took it on tour like a week later, and I've used it for everything ever since. Like, it's been on all 3 albums as kind of the main amp, really.
I think as everyone can see from the amps in the background and even the guitar you're using, why we're doing a part 2 to this, because there's a lot of things came up in that part 1 and I was like, I want to hear that, I want to see it, I want to get it on camera. So thank you so much for making time with us, Jack, making time for us to do a part 2 for this in the Lion's Den in the studio. Let us know.
Yeah,
you know, is this your rehearsal space?
Yeah, so we've had this for just over a year now. It's a little space below the there's a full like blown rehearsal studios above us actually. We've been practicing up there since we were like 15 years old. Like, it's mad. So we sort of feel like we've grown up now because we have our own room and we don't have to bug them.
Right, let's start off with the guitar, I guess. What guitar are you holding there?
This is a Providence Zephyr, it's called. The company have renamed themselves since, so there's not many of these about. They're called Fairlane guitars now. My friend Ruben and his mate Kev started it up a few years ago now, and they're sick. And they get better and better as well as they go on. They're kind of crazy guitars. So it's kind of roughly a Jazzmaster with sort of Firebird features, I guess is probably the best way of describing it. But this is one of the first ones they made. So this is kind of actually a prototype, I believe.
De facto signature model there. Does it have P90s in it or what pickups?
They're made by Monty's pickups. Again, I think they're in London. These are the Firebird pickups. So they're like a mini humbucker, effectively.
Nice.
So they're really bright, they really cut. I've got it set up so I can use the bridge, the neck, but then in the middle it's out of phase. Weird sounding in a way, but as soon as you put like fuzz on or overdrives or whatever, which I have a lot of, it just makes the harmonics like pop like crazy. It's really, really cool.
That's the Brian May Queen trick as well. There's something he can do where he can put pickups out of phase.
Especially on the first album, we used Mustangs a lot for recording. Yeah. And we were always just messing around with the phase on that as well, because they've got loads of things you can do all that with, haven't they, as well? There's just some cool, like, unique quality to that, I think, because we've never been reaching for, like, standard guitar sounds, I don't think. It's not really been our thing. Do you know what I mean? We've always tried to find something that's a bit more weird, I suppose. It's probably the best word for it.
Just a bit more unique. I get it, man. That's great. And your main amp, I think the one there is the Fender Twin Reverb?
It's so cool. It looks crazy as well. So the Tolex has been taken off it and the wood has been stained. So it's already quite unique looking in itself. The speakers have been swapped out for some early 60s Celestians, which have got quite small magnets. They sound kind of like 10s rather than 12s, which is something I'm definitely into. But yeah, my next door neighbour he was clearing out his garden, he was moving house, and it was in the middle of his driveway with a plant pot on top of it and a spade lent against it. And I was going to play football at the end of the street with my mates. And I saw it and I was like, whoa. So I knocked on his door. I was a bit cheeky, really. I was like, what? I was hoping to buy it off him, really. That was kind of the vibe. I was like, what are you doing with that? And he walked over to it. Oh, these old speakers. And he like kicked the side of it. He's like proper Yorkshireman, this guy's called David. His son was also called David. So I shouted David like into the house to see if one of them turned up. He was like, oh, it's, you know, my mate gave me it 20 years ago. I never bothered playing. You can have it. I was like,
wow,
fair. Plugged it in when I took it like literally next door back into my living room and plugged it in and I was like, this sounds mega, really, really cool. It needed servicing and stuff, which I got done. But then I took it on tour like a week later and I've used it for everything ever since. Like, it's been on all 3 albums. as kind of the main amp, really, with mixtures of other ones. I've always used more than one amp, but it's been the sort of sound, I suppose, for the band, or for the guitars at least, this thing. It's wicked, really, really cool.
And this is the amp that you have like the middle on 10, and you're trying to make it break up. You're trying to make the amp really break up, aren't you?
Yeah, so what I've had it modded like a month ago. Well, not modded, well, maybe, I suppose it is modded, yeah. Tweaked. Naturally on Twins, the channels are out of phase with each other, so if you jump them, it can sound a bit, does the reverse effect of what you'd hope it would. If you do like, you know, if you do
Yeah,
like
it
a JMP,
cancels.
it's sort of, you know, out of phase amps is not the thing. You don't want that. Out of phase guitars is fine, amps not so much. But I've had it put so, and it was the guy that was fixing it up for me. Shout out to, and he's also called Andy. And he was like, we can put the channels in phase and you can jump them and it'll just give you more of kind of everything. I was like, cool, let's do it. So we've done that. So the channels are jumped now, hence the blue cable in between. The normal channel, everything is on 10. I've just gone for everything on 10 today.
That's what we want, man. That's what we want to hear.
There is something weird with the circuit on this amp where you get past like 8 with the mids and it does something to the overall, something changes. You know, it's almost like a switch. It's the same for the treble as well. It just adds this extra kind of thing. I'm using a Twin exactly the opposite of how most people would.
That was what surprised me, but I love that. I love that. And speaking of surprises, before we get you playing properly and start showing us how you play your songs and getting some great close-ups on that, what is this thing on top of the Fender? Is this the Ferrograph from 1955?
Yeah, it's a Model 2A. So this came about, it was when I was rehearsing with 100 Reasons, I think. So it was a few years ago now. I did some session stuff for them. We did a couple of tours. And Larry, the guitarist, who also produced our first record, amazing human being, amazing producer as well. And he's just always trying to find weird stuff, similar to me in that sense, you know, just obscure things. And his friend Al, that he does, I think he's his engineer quite a lot of the time these days, Australian lad, awesome dude. He picked one up on like Facebook Marketplace for like 30 quid or something. This thing's gnarly, it's really, really cool. Larry bought one and he's like, Jack, you need one of these because you're gonna absolutely love it. Try it when you come down, which I did. And I was like, there's just this thing on the floor. I was like, what? His had reels in it. I think it's like fully operational though. I've got one of the speakers because I've had the speaker replaced. So this is the speaker that's inside. This is a broken one, this blue when we were on tour. So it's 10 by 7 inch speaker. It's obscure and it's made by Goodman's. That's, yeah, made in Wembley.
Look at that. That
Which
is
is
stunning.
Weird. So it's got one of these in the side of it, and you can pick these up on eBay for. I got 2 for like 50 quid or something as like spares because that blue. You can record to reel on it is the idea, but there's a preamp in it as well. There's like an input and a microphone input. Yeah, I use it as an amp. It just sounds fizzy and kind of cool. I think for texture, I've sort of realised a lot of the time before I'd run 2 or 3 amps that were probably kind of similar sounding. So like this and like a high watt or whatever. You don't necessarily need 3 or 2 of the same thing. Do you know what I mean? It sort of maybe gives the front of house guy options, I think, but with this, it's like 2 very distinctly different sounding things that together then create something weird because all the pedals I run on my board run through both at the same time, bar one of the delays. But they both react differently. Do you know what I mean? So you're constantly getting 2 very different sounds, and we've often been having the Ferrograph kind of as a fizz on top, just a bit of extra cut. It's cool, and yeah, why not? It's heavy. It weighs a lot.
I think it's amazing. I think it looks fantastic. It reminds me of, I mean, you're a fan of Third Man Records and Jack White and all that. It reminds me exactly of all of that kind of stuff. And if it's heavy and a bit unwieldy and a bit unpredictable, all the better. But it will also give you that sound of kind of 2 guitars. Now you're the sole guitarist in the band, right?
Yeah, exactly. We were doing a bit of experimentation on the last run. Obviously, we're still kind of finding our feet with that whole thing. Like Sam's doing some interesting stuff with his bass. He's running a guitar amp as well as a bass amp and kind of having the guitar amp set, so it's just upper octave, and do you know what I mean? And sort of actually splitting out for some of the guitar parts where we need two guitars, say, because we're very reluctant to have guitars on track. Synths and, you know, delays or whatever from pads we're happy with that, but when it comes to like stuff that you can physically play, do you know what I mean? We don't want to be doing any of that stuff. So what we were doing on the last run, I was running this, I've got it over there, it's this Wazacraft, effectively like an attenuator with a DI kind of out with a speaker emulation thing. Almost like a super safety net, I think, which we were running to then have that with a high watt with the speaker mic'd and the ferrograph, and then sort of like split, so it was like two different sounds left and right. Do you know what I mean? To sort of give a bit of wider sort of stereo image or whatever. But I don't know how often that was actually implemented. It's kind of hard to tell because from what I was gathering, the ferrograph was doing most of the sound on the tour.
Wow.
Yeah,
well,
so
there you go.
that's
Again, if it sounds wild and it cuts through as well, you're giving the front of house what they need. Too often, you know, you've got the mids on full as standard on the Fender. Too often, people want to sound heavy in the mid scooping, and you can't hear it out front.
No, I get it, because it's that whole kind of like Dimebag Darrell thing, isn't it? The scooped mids. And I think for a lot of that stuff, it does sound cool, but to get it to pop, it's very, very difficult, I think, to make it. Do you know what I mean? Like on its own, it sounds great. Then everything comes in, it's like.
Guitars are in the mids. That's where all the
exactly.
tone is. Don't take them all out, is all I'm saying. Or use an amp that naturally has a character that will cut through.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So let's hear a bit of that. Shall we start with Kiss from a Mother, first song on the album, first song of many a set list, as I've seen your set list. How are you doing this on one guitar live? Because this is a different tuning on the original recording, isn't it? So how are you doing it live?
This is it. So what I was doing, I won't today, because I'll probably be doing this anyway going forward. What I was doing live was playing it in D standard, like a whole step down. So the majority of our songs on the first album and the second album are in either drop C or D standard, bar a couple that are in like a low G, which we'll probably get into later, just because that was ridiculous. But I just do that because then you got sort of the best of both worlds, purely because the intro bit I recorded in E standard, and then the rest of the song, because we did that afterwards, weirdly. So I think that might have even been the last thing I recorded for the album, was potentially the intro of that song. But the rest of the song was all in, we just did it in drop D. So we just found that, I don't know, it's like intonation and that kind of thing, and just guitars just, to me, sound better in standard tuning, I think. And I think when we were in drop C before, we did it purely, it wasn't for Becca's benefit at all, it was purely because we just thought it was cool to down tune, you know, we were...
It's the modern sound down tuning, isn't it?
Exactly, and I think sort of within the break, and then as well through teaching, I think my guitars around the house were in standard tuning more often than not. So we were writing in standard tuning, and, you know, it was just one of those. That's kind of how that's happened. I think the first bit is, I recorded that on it was a Gibson 330, which is like a hollow body 335, like fully hollow thing, with the ferrograph, I think, weirdly. So the first bit is like this, it goes... So it's like a G dominant 7, played in the most horrendous fashion. Bit James Bond chord vibes, isn't it? When we go to that chord, I've got like an infinite delay. When we recorded it, it was a Strymon, I think it was a Volante. It's the really ugly, greeny, yellowy coloured one. So it's like, I think it's a delay. And I played that chord, and then Jonathan was just spinning stuff on the pedal to sort of get the weird oscillation and that kind of thing building up. So what I'd do really here I'd play this chord. And it cuts off basically immediately. At that point, I can turn my tuner on, tune down. I'll just do that. Why not? Because, you know, who doesn't like making their lives hard for themselves?
And the first song of the gig as well.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, why not? There's one of the songs where I was using this Boss polyshifter, to tune it down to like an A that it's in, and
Yeah.
forgot that I'd had the pedal on. So the tuner, because I've got it before the tuner, so I knew where the notes would, what they were going to actually be, but then didn't realise that I'd done that. I didn't realise I had it on or something. It pitched it down. So it was going into another song. It was Is It Horrible, which is in drop C. And I went and pressed my tuner. It was like A sharp. I was like, oh, I've gone too far. You know what I mean? I'm like, and then it's like me coming in, and then I'd go back and turn, and then realise, absolute nightmare. So that's, and then it's funny, isn't it, when you're doing a gig, because then afterwards, that's all you're thinking about was this, you know, you kind of blagged it, and everyone's like, that was great. I was like, did you not see me? Like,
no one cares.
I don't care.
This is
yeah,
it.
Exactly. No.
They just want the riff to then kick in and then have a good show. And I think a lot of that is trying to eliminate things to go wrong. So yeah, I don't know how long you'll keep tuning down mid-song.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess after that bit, we've got the oscillation building. Then we go into the main riff, which is played like this. Again, it's pretty simple. It wasn't written like this, again, because it's a bit of a... Guitar tunings are weird, aren't they? Yeah, it was written like here, but anyway, but in drop D, then it's like this. Which you'll then like loop throughout the verse, and then into the sort of into the next bit from there, which is, again, it's just all about sort of adding layer and sort of, you know, layers and volume, I think, then into it sort of building up and then kicking in properly, which we had to do kind of strategically with the bass as well, because that's just kind of like holding one note underneath. It's just literally paddling a D, which then gets progressively lower down the octaves. So I think it starts up here, then it's going here, then it kicks into there. And then again, the riffs in this, it's all really kind of sleazy, very Cramps inspired, kind of chromatic.
What a band. Underrated. They never got the prestige they deserve, the Cramps. Everyone references them now, but they never got the glory, did they?
No, it's, I mean, mine and Becca's first dance song was a Cramps song.
Oh, that's awesome.
We've been listening to for years. They're one of my dad's favourite bands. He got to see them live a bunch, which we're very envious of.
What a front man. And what a guitarist, Poison Ivy, right?
She's amazing. She's literally Becca's hero.
Well, a bit back in fashion now because of the Wednesday show, but not enough.
I watched that, and she started dancing, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
The secret's out, you know. So then, yeah, the next bit then is kind of Crampsy, I suppose, again. It's a similar sound. I think I just stacked a fuzz on top of it as well then. So this is going to be really loud, I think. So, feedback. Yeah, into that.
Sadly, I can only imagine what that's like in the room, but that's such a great part. That's great.
It's cool. And then it goes into a chorus bit, which is kind of fiddly. But when we were demoing, I kept writing stuff like this. So we're using like triads and sort of inverted triads then as well. So the first bit is weird because it sounds like it's pretty heavy, but it's not. The guitar part is literally this. I think it's out of phase as well. So it's really kind of bright. So going from here. Like that. Like so. So there's like a time signature change there. I think it's a 7, I believe. But weirdly, like when the guitar part for the chorus came about, it was all straight, it was all 4/4. And Becca sang the melody, and there was just something where it was like clashing, it wasn't fitting, but I was like, what she was singing was so sick. I was like, I need to figure out, and it's just taking literally a beat out of it, which is an old trick we've used for years. Sort of, a lot of the riffs are always written in 4/4, or usually, but we'll just take a couple of notes out, you know. Oh, we do that turns into 5/4 then, cool, you know, rather than think or trying to do it intentionally. It wasn't always like that.
Such a great idea though, because otherwise everything goes a little bit like rock jam track, where, you know, everything sounds so standard in 4/4. And if you've got a lyric, especially the rhythm of the lyric, that you need to fit that to, just take notes out of there and just start it again. Does the ending have kind of a 4/4 and then a 5/4 bit?
Yeah, in fact, it might even be 5. I can't think about it right now, but I think it
Well,
is
I guess
5,
you're
yeah.
not counting it as well because you're just playing to the vocal melody or the part, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the thing. The numbers thing is cool, I suppose, but we'd never really thought about it like that, I suppose. It was always just, that is how the riff goes. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was kind of the...
100% patterns, thinking patterns and shapes rather than counting everything.
Exactly. So yeah, it loops that, and then I think towards the end of the song, it goes a bit straighter with it, and then I'm playing the part an octave lower then. So that kind of, and it just vibes on that, which is almost a bit Pixies in a way as well. It's a bit like the song Rock Music. It sort of reminds me of that. That's pretty much the song. There's a riff in the second verse as well, which is pretty cool. Similar vibe to the first one. Like that. And we're just sort of playing that as close to the bridge as possible, so it was really kind of choked.
Absolutely. There's a tab available online, which is actually pretty accurate.
All right. I think I wrote one out and posted it on a story.
Right?
That'll be what that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the cool bit. And then we've got like a Vox Continental over the top of it doing the same thing, just for super 60s vibes.
But that 60 vibe with modern production is like the whole thing, right?
Yeah, that was kind of... I mean, when we were first discussing doing the album, I really wanted to do it with Steve Albini. Obviously, he's since passed, and that wasn't going to happen. The idea of doing it like fully analog was very appealing to all of us. We did want to kind of go down that route. At the same time, it's just more of a ball ache for the people that, just for not the band. But do you know what I mean? Like for everyone else involved, it becomes a lot more difficult. So yeah, and then when we met Jonathan, we had this Zoom thing. Obviously, he's worked with some cool bands. He worked with Nothing But Thieves that we're friends with. Their production's always amazing. And he's done stuff with the 1975 as well. So he knows kind of just, he knows what he's doing basically. He's great. A lot of it was that kind of 60s ethos going into it, but there's a lot of textures and stuff, which is, I suppose, very, very modern. The way we were recording the guitars was really kind of unique. On all the guitars, there's a DI, or well, not DI even, sorry, it's straight into desk sound over the top of everything. We used a red DI, it's called. They're like these big, it's like a DI with a valve in it, isn't it, I think? They're pretty expensive things, but we ran that into a desk with a hollow body guitar, with like a Zvex, I've got it there, it's the Super Duper 2-in-1. There's like a little bit of a sort of drivey thing to add to it, and just sort of mimicking often just the top notes of the riffs or the chords or whatever, just to add it layer and sort of depth into the riff. So when you hear like the isolated guitar tracks that I've got, it's weird because it sounds like they're fully stacked up, do you know what I mean, but still precise.
Yeah, cool. I guess it adds presence without harshness. All this cranking things so that they distort kind of overdrive naturally. That my amp can't cope good sound we talked about. It's trying to get that if you just EQ'd it to try and make it match rather than having the character in the amp itself. Just sounds harsh and tinny, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You start getting that, I don't know, it starts sounding almost intentional in a way, I think, when you can sort of overthink it a little bit. But New York we can do, that's fine, yeah.
So yeah, this has the kind of harmonic part, really cool riff, man, really cool riff. And then also the counter melody in the chorus was popping out for me when I was re-listening to it.
It's Fuzz Factory was the main sound for this. It's an old hand-painted one. It's so cool, and every single one you play on sound completely different as well. I'm happy to have one that sounds cool. Anyway, so it's set like this. It's kind of a weird spluttery gated thing. The riff's this, so it goes. Like so, which is kind of vibey.
What I love about that, just to pause you 1 second, is that if someone tabbed that, they wouldn't get the riff at all.
No, I've tried to tab it.
Yeah, and you're like,
lines.
what do? You'd have to add text, like slide up and down.
Yeah, so it's It's weird. I actually use it later on in the song as well. So I didn't realize this, but the 3rd fret on the low E has like 3 or 4 different harmonics.
Yeah, 3rd fret's wild. Every dotted fret has kind of louder harmonics than any others, and does go to a pitch.
Yeah.
But there's all sorts of wonderful, wonderful frets and phrases there.
So this is the thing. So with that riff, there's the first harmonic on the 3rd is like over the fret. Like you got to be like really over it. It's those 3, and that is just Devo vibes. It just slides up and all that kind of, just love it. Sounds like a whip.
Absolutely quality. So you've got the Fuzz Factory there. Anything else on the pedal board to get the kind of, or is that just the Fuzz Factory doing most of the work there?
Yeah, it's that. There's some reverb coming through the Twin. And then I think maybe even when we were recording it, I think the little Devo-y slide things, I think we may have overdubbed or like layered with a reverb on it just to give it kind of a, I don't know, just to make it sound even stranger, I suppose. Which would sound something like this. That kind of thing, which I'm pretty sure I did do that. I think I was doing that on the
love
tour,
those
actually.
sorts of riffs. Really rhythmical and yeah, it's really cool. So much going on. Again, kind of mimicking what synths would do, actually. You can imagine a filter sweep doing something similar, right?
Yeah, exactly. When we first had the idea, I had that riff there's like a counter melody in the chorus, and they were sort of sat underneath each other. It was that whole thing of, being conscious of there being one guitar and, playing and is physically impossible. So
then what have you chosen to do with this counter melody in the chorus? Are you not playing that live, or what are you doing live for that?
Yeah, so I was playing it live. So in the chorus then, I was doing the 3 chords. It's based around a B, an A, and an E. And then over the E, you have this other riff. So that'll sound like this. So we've got... like so, and then we had like an E underneath, the played like that. But it's
badass.
It's kind of like 3 chords played weirdly.
And that's what it's all about, man. Keep it simple. Lots of the intros are on 1 string. But then we're all trying to find something that's a little bit unique out of the same stuff, right?
Exactly. Hence the sort of like playing the chord like that. I did this a lot on the album, weirdly. And it's not that ridiculous. Like we say, it's like the sort of C cage position without the 3rd in it. So you're muting the A string. But I find, like I said, I saw a video of Alex Lifeson doing it. It's like Rush Live in Rio. It was a DVD. I used to obsess over it. It's so sick. And there's a bit where he plays an A and it like breaks down into like Geddes on synths at this point. It's all getting a bit moody. It's very cool. And he plays an A like this. It's like it's like an
the full G
A.
shape. But that is a brutal chord, yeah.
It's super like just sounds really wide, and I remember seeing that and sort of every now and then I'd sort of do it, but there's something about that. It just has. I mean, it's probably just down to the gauge of the strings, I suppose. There's just a little bit more top end on it. Just doing whatever I can to be heard, I suppose, at this point. And then the A is, there's no 5 in the A, it's just like a... Just playing that. And bending the D. Just, again, wobbly, wobbly.
Glorious vibe, man. It's a great, great song. One of the most fun songs that you were looking forward to playing that you hadn't played live yet was Mes Désirs, or My Desires, basically.
Yes.
And that's another fuzz one.
Very fuzzy.
There's a main riff, but then the ending riff in that one was particularly saucy as well. I was really digging it.
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, you can tell by the sort of the verse melodies and stuff is that it's relatively simplistic musically, but we're just following Becker kind of going off. The second verse, it's like a stupid, it doesn't make sense really. If she goes wrong, we're screwed type of thing.
Yeah.
So the main riff I use with a Bumble Buzz, the Third Man Records thing. I got it from the shop in Nashville. It's sick. It's got no controls on it. It's just a splattery kind of black and yellow thing. It sounds like this. The main riff is this. Yeah, awful in a good way. So that's
Absolutely.
that's the main riff. The verses are cool. I mean, yeah. So it's just kind of like that all the way through. And then we go. And so on. Then we're going to the chorus. Again, the chorus is kind of like a chopped up version of the same riff again. And then back into the verse. That's kind of that. Then the outro riff, I don't know, it's very kind of Smashing Pumpkins, I think, in a way. It's very kind of
Yeah, I can hear that.
fuzz overload. You'll like this, actually. There's I did 4 guitars, and one of them was, because we recorded this with a different producer, this song, and one of them was that he had an old Big Muff preset saved on his neural.
Okay.
Yeah.
Preset number 1, Big Muff.
Yeah, so I think that is actually the sort of one, well, it's one of the 3 or 4 sounds you hear over it. But again, it's really, really simple. It's just like chromatic octaves, and then there's like a 7th in the middle of it somewhere.
Let me ask you about that as well. So when you're writing these riffs, I've said before, you're a hell of a player, and you do have a lot of theory to back this up. Now, a lot of people think that theory will kind of harm your creativity. Are you thinking more in intervals? Are you trying to confuse yourself sometimes when you're coming up with riffs? I just want to give people a window into people that play guitar and practice, how to get creative with it without it just sounding exactly like a band that they like, you know.
What we do, or what I'm doing when I'm writing riffs, is that the idea will come from wherever. It's just one of those.
Sure,
It just
yeah,
sort of
the
happens.
initial spark.
But I think then as the song's progressing, I don't know, I'm not one to like, you hear of like mixers where they have a song that they'll listen to like back to back to try and make the mix sound really, really similar or whatever. There's that kind of thing. I think when we're coming up with riff ideas or melody ideas or whatever, there'll be something that will spark almost like a memory or like an idea of another song that maybe exists already. And you'll be like, what do they do with that? Like, where do they go from there in that position or whatever? And it can be that you're looking at, the progression that they're playing and sort of what key they're in, or do you know what I mean? Like, these things do make a difference, and that's a nice way of taking inspiration, but never try and, you don't want to have the starting point being a riff and then thinking, right, how can I change this? Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to just make it worse anyway.
Yeah, I think we've all tried that at some point as well, any songwriters, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't.
You need to keep it. It's almost like when you've got that idea, you've got a little flame, and you need to fan it enough without putting it out. You've got to keep what's good about it.
Exactly, because as soon as you start changing it, you get upset because you're thinking, well, it doesn't sound right anymore. But really what it is that you want it to be that riff again, or whatever it was beforehand. But yeah, I think the theory definitely has come in handy. The funny thing is with this, I was speaking to someone yesterday actually while I was teaching. Our stuff musically, if you go back to like, there's like 2 EPs before the first album, and it's completely chaotic and intentionally like that, just because of the stuff we were listening to, the Fall of Troy, Dillinger Escape Plan, the Locust, these like kind of out there bands.
Yeah, heavy, man.
Heavy stuff. And it was all kind of based on that, you know, flat 5 thing. And
Yeah. How harsh can we make it sound?
exactly. But then with that in mind, the principle of having a key was way less, you know, we just didn't need to know what key it was in, because it didn't matter, because as long as it sounded wonky and we're tapping.
You wanted it to sound dissonant.
Yeah. That kind of stuff, it's like, it's horrific. But we used to mess around with all that weird kind of Rollo Tomasi-esque even at points, like just odd stuff. But now, like, it's funny that I've learned a load of theory stuff or whatever, and it does make you more aware of what's going on in a song. But I think for me, it just makes the process quicker, because I'll instantly know that this note is going to do that to the song, or that's going to make that sound cheesy, or that's going to be. Do you know what I mean? It bypasses.
Give it that feeling.
It bypasses a lot of, not experimentation, I don't think, but it bypasses
The guesswork.
Of the guesswork. I think that's the main thing. So like there's the bit in New York, say, there's that dissonant chord at the end of it that I was mentioning before, where I'm just like piling over the top of it, and it sounds dissonant, but actually it's not. It's fully in key. It's the relative major. It's fine. But it's, again, I did that knowing that that is going to sound instantly nasty, because you've got no 3 or 5, so there's nothing to sort of subtle it down. They're both nice, but on the... It's awful, but it just works. Do you know what I mean?
Well, with drums and a bass keeping it together as well, it does give it that. It does give it a home that it's got to come back to. But it's just nice to hear someone talking about actually using that sort of thing, you know, theory or triads, and knowing what chords are actually called. Because I think a lot of bands actually, and a lot of guitarists in bands actually pretend they don't know because they think it's cooler. No one wants to go, oh yeah, I learned this in music school and now I do it. They all go, oh no, it's all vibe, man. You're just born with it. You're just born with it. But I want people to know that there's a mix of the two. They're not exclusives. It's not music theory or feel. There's a hybrid you can do, but it is how to use it. And putting feelings on notes and intervals and chords and remembering that so you can recall it later when you need to use it. That's just like a painter knowing how to use his colors.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny though, because I've seen videos of famous guitarists that they'll be like, oh, you know, I'll play this scale, and what they play is not what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But they use that in a sense. There's a Josh Homme one that's really interesting. He plays that, I think. It's like, yeah, you know, it's the pentatonic scale, and you're like, no.
No, it isn't. but it can be the same function or the same feeling or work in the same place. That's what they know.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool though. I mean, you know, he's created a whole world out of doing that. You know, almost like
what a guy.
learning something wrong.
His guitar moves YouTube video is fantastic. He's a really creative guitar player, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about Running with the Sun in Your Eyes? This has been one of the ones that's popping off the new releases, man. Where did this come from? This one's a bit more synthy, perhaps, but I bet there's a lot of guitar in it as well, actually creating that sound.
So the sound is, I can tell you exactly what the sound is if I can remember. The sound is there's no synth in the riff.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's just guitars, 2 different guitar tracks. It's in a weird tuning though as well, which gives it a synthy thing. So it's tuned to an open G, effectively. So you're kind of like tuning the A string down a full step, right?
Yeah.
Bit Keith, eh?
Sure, man. That's one I would not have guessed was in any kind of anywhere near open G.
No, so it's that, right? I didn't bother with the high E because you don't actually need it for the song. And then the low E string is going the octave lower than the G.
Ooh, nice, okay. I can't think of anyone who's actually done that before.
So we've got a few songs, not this tuning, but we've got a song on every album in a low G tuning. So yeah, the main riff it was this guitar with a Moog, it's the low pass filter pedal. You know the big, beautiful brown wooden sided things?
Sure, of course, yeah.
It tricks you into thinking that it's auto-wiring, but it's not. It's just the frequency it's sat on. And then there was like a Fender 6, you know, like the sort of guitar scale bass thing. And then the Gibson 330 into the desk over the top of it. So that's the sound. There's no synth in the riff, which is funny because people are like, oh, it's not. It's quite hard to emulate the sound without that pedal, and it's really annoying because the pedal's like £2,000, and I'm like, you know. Anyway, so the idea, or what I did initially, was that the tone was all the way down. And then the chorus, again, I don't know how we got there, but you know, I was on about how you get sort of an idea and then we find influence within the initial idea. And it was originally just a standard kind of... kind of thing, which has a kind of Daft Punk feel to it, weirdly. Do you know what I mean? Even though it is a guitar part.
Yeah.
But we went straight into the desk again. So it's like, I was like, oh, that's like kind of like that T-Rex sound. So I went like full, again, maybe even status quo, you know, adding the 6. And you can't tell it's there, but now you know, you might be able to tell. So the chorus bits. So on. So yeah, it's got that kind of T-Rex.
Well, when heard in isolation, it is a bit more Keith Richards style.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's weird. So that's, yeah, it's odd.
But you don't expect that sound with a dance beat behind it. And I think it's the BPM as well.
Well, this
when
is the
when
thing.
you mentioned Daft Punk, I'm like, I think most of those songs are around the same BPM, and it's just that it functions as that, and it doesn't sound like other things.
No. So when the riff originally came about, I remember this because I remember being in our spare room and Becca was cooking like bolognese or something, and she sort of bobbed her head in. That's cool. Like, yeah, it's cool. But yeah, the big thing with that was the tempo going into the studio. Like, it was pretty fast before, and it was really, really like dirty sounding, and which was cool. But Jonathan was like, it needs to be more in this world. I think it's gonna just sit better, and so we dropped it maybe like 10 BPM or something. I think. It's pretty simplistic. There's like 3 parts. The bridge bit is funny because that's just like a blues scale. It loops in 3 bars of 4.
Yeah, a 3/4 trick.
Which is a thing that like Pixies, who are also one of my favorite bands, they use that a lot. They don't use like rounds. They don't use 4 lots of 4/4. They'll use like 3 bars of 4/4, then go back. Do you know what I mean? Just why wait kind of idea. That kind of thing.
That is gnarly.
It's heavy. Yeah, but again, we've just got this like, it's through like a filter pedal, and it sounds like a synth. I think the only thing is in the chorus, there's an omnichord. We use that a lot, so that's kind of like sat underneath just for a bit of space or whatever. And then there's some kind of really sort of on the nose, Frenchy Fender Rhodes through a Pog pedal thing going on. And there's a bit of that, but we just had fun with that one. Do you know what I mean? It was like, while we're at it, we might as well just sort of make it as like that as possible, really. And, you know, I was saying before, we've sort of, the benefit, I think, is having Becca's voice being so distinctive and sounding so like the band and being such a strong part of the DNA that we kind of get away with it more. Do you know what I mean? It sort of makes it sound more punk, I suppose, by it. Do you know what I mean? Just by having her on it.
It just makes it distinctive as you guys, for sure. And
Yeah.
it does remind me of, there's loads of Smith songs. Johnny Marr was a wizard at making guitars sound like synths, like How Soon Is Now.
Yeah,
Everyone's like, oh,
amazing.
there's some synths on that somewhere. No, it's all guitars.
Yeah.
And he can do it live.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know, I think people just assume, it's probably, like you say, it's the tempo, it's what the drum's doing. People just assume that synths are going to be in there. And there are bits of that, but there's synths on, like, Weird and Wonderful, say, off the first album. There's synths in that.
Yeah.
No one bats an eyelid. But do you know what I mean? Like, all the swells, they're all synths. It's just, there's nothing wrong with synths. I don't know why people hate them so much.
Yeah, not at all. But I think it just goes, it can go against that punk ethos of, real amps played a bit too loud, too fast. But the BPM's so crucial, especially when you start playing bigger spaces. Faster BPMs work for smaller rooms to get the energy going, and they don't translate in the bigger, especially outdoor places. You need it. That 10 BPM that you mentioned is so crucial to make it hit at the back of the room.
It's funny because we actually, when we were on tour, we were playing that song 2 BPM faster.
Ah, really?
Intentionally, yeah, just because we first, and again, it might have been that we'd played it before we'd released it as well. And there's a few people like, and it is a lot slower than a lot of the other stuff, I think. Once the venues get bigger, then we'll go back down to the original tempo. But it is interesting. It does make such a difference.
Speaking of BPMs, if we could change song now, You Want the Truth. That's a faster one, intentionally.
Yeah,
and I think, has that got some like whammy solo or something happening in that one?
Yeah, it does. It's got a Pog, which is an original 90s one.
Incredible. It must be late 90s for Pogs. It was about 99 they came in.
Yeah, it's something like that. I remember there was a video of, I think, is he called Peter Stroud or something like that? He played for like Paul McCartney maybe. There's a video of him demoing one. It's like really pixelated now on YouTube. It's hilarious. But I remember watching that and being like, that's so sick. And obviously, I'm a big Jack White fan, and he used it in the White Stripes. So that sounds like this. It's a really beautiful sounding thing, isn't it? Like, really cool. Right, really organy. But I don't use it like that because it's me. So what I do is I turn everything up full. When in doubt. No, I literally do. So the sound for that, it took ages to get when we were recording it. But I use that there all up. The sub-octaves off, the dries up equal, the inputs on full. So it's noisy. I need to get a noise suppressor, really. Do I? No. Maybe? No? Yeah, it's fine, innit? The main riff is really, again, really simple. It was based around a loop. E standard, but the low E is tuned to an A. And it's a bumble buzz again. You can... Very Nirvana, I suppose. Unintentionally, I promise. There's two bits, so I play the first one, the... Back into that. Then the second time round is the same thing, but we're up an octave. So it's very painful to listen to. But anyway, that sounds like this. Like, so, I might be deaf now.
I can only imagine.
There's an ongoing theme here. There seems to be like 3 parts in each song, and
Yeah.
then just that's fine, you know.
Great use of the trem arm there, but also that guitar must really take tunings well.
Yeah, it's nuts. It really is, because I don't.
That is rare.
Yeah, it's one of the amazing qualities about this. I've got another one as well that's, again, the tuning stability is just insane. More so than anything. And it's got a Bigsby, which is like notorious for being terrible for that.
Yeah, and going out of tune and causing problems. And to give everyone watching a window into that, what we're meaning is that the intonation might start messing up because the neck starts moving and all that kind of bad stuff that you don't want with your guitars. You have to get it set up all the time, which is adjusting everything. And if you can do all the retuning that I've even seen you do now, and then it stays in tune when you get there as well, that's the sign of a very good guitar.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the strings are cool as well. I've got Gabriel Tenario strings. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're handmade guitar strings. I've got a box over there.
Gotcha.
But what's really lovely is you order them, and it comes with your name on. How nice is that? How good's that? Really?
There you go.
But they're wicked strings. Really, really cool. I restrung this yesterday.
Wow, fair play.
1052, and that's in an A, and it's still fine, you know. Yeah, weird.
As a guitar teacher as well, you have exemplary string bending technique. That is how it's done. Everyone watching, that is exactly how it's done. Do you remember any gateway songs in terms of lead playing for yourself? You know, in terms of phrasing or intonation and all the more subtle aspects of playing?
I went through like a phase of like trying to learn Eric Johnson stuff, and
what a
you know
player.
those his vibrato's really distinctive, and really it's an amazing thing, like vibrato or bending, isn't it? Because you can really tell who's playing. If you know the guitarist, anyway, if you knew if you have 10 guitarists that you know how they play, you can tell who it is just by the way they bend a string or whatever. I don't know, I suppose my sort of heroes, guitar heroes, sort of from when I started playing when I think I was 10. It was like Jack White was God initially, do you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff, absolutely obsessed with it all. And then I had a friend that sort of introduced me into like prog rock and hallucinogenics, and you know, you kind of got into this like idea of what guitars could do. Do you know what I mean? More so than just me hearing a dude smash through a Fender Twin. There was like Lur from Primus was another one where just really like distinctive playing, really unique stuff and weird, you know, like really chromatic again and just obscure parts that I found really interesting. So that I use this bend a lot, that kind of thing.
Unison bend.
I've used that in loads of songs. That was from a Primus song, was when I first learned that. Is it Tommy the Cat? That kind of just trying to make as much racket as possible vibe was the thing.
Oh, that's incredible.
So it was a bit of that, great, and then again like a bit of Alex Life's and Rush was another one, just because I found it so crazy that to my ear at first, because I'd not heard anything similar to a lot of his stuff, it just sounded like classical sort of Spanish guitar playing, but on an electric. Do you know what I mean? It was like I didn't know that you could do that. Like, you know, various bits and bats here and there then. But it's just trying to sort of find your place within all of it, isn't it, I suppose, you know.
And there was a warm-up exercise that you mentioned, a one note per string thing.
There's one that's kind of cool as well, similar idea, where you're just moving in fifths. It's very Police. I do that with the hybrid. And you can go up, or you can kind of just do it in the same register. And so. Then the other one was the it's, yeah, weird. Like I said before, it's kind of a bit naughty really, but I don't often warm up before gigs, which is something hopefully I'll be able to start doing. I think it's more just like going back in, and we've been in sort of, you know, club gigs, and some of them don't even have dressing rooms even sometimes, you know, so you don't really have that privilege or luxury to be able to do that.
I can see from this side they're all forcing you out of, you know, position one or a shape one. They're all forcing you to be a bit more diagonal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, I don't know, I've always been drawn to players where it look, you know, where there's loads of movement around the neck and that kind of thing. It just sort of looks cool, doesn't it? It's easily done. I mean, there's like the Paul Gilbert stuff in there where you do like a shape and you just move it up in 3 octaves. There's all sorts of stuff in there. There's the, like, Joe Bonamassa does stuff where he'll, like, land on a note and then repeat the same note in a different spot to give him more room as well, which is kind of cool. That kind of thing. Eric Johnson does it as well, doesn't he? Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Oh, that's quality. I think it's great to show people that you've got all of that variety in your playing. So, you know, sometimes when you want to sound like your band, you are forced to do certain things, you know, one string riffs and focusing sometimes more on the tone and the texture of the sound rather than being able to display a lot of that. So I'm really pleased you're able to show a lot of that. The other one that you've played live from the new album this winter was Cut Back.
Yeah, that riff's cool. We were on about this yesterday, actually. It came about, I think I'd played something in a rehearsal, I mean, years ago now. It's quite an old riff, actually, the initial idea anyway, maybe like 5, 6 years ago. And I remember I had this like Moog ring mod pedal. It was one of those like little black ones. It's really, I mean, it just made your guitar sound awful. And it was cool, and it basically, whatever you played, it'd harmonize it with a note that was slightly microtonal. It'd be like an E, but like 5 cents flat or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, it's almost like if you spoke through it, it would sound like the Exterminate Dalek sound, wouldn't it? That's the ring modulation.
Exactly. And it was something like playing that, or Sam played that or something, and then I sort of went away with it and came up with this weird riff. There's a record that we're all obsessed with called Fantasy Black Channel by a band, what are they called now? Late of the Pier, they're called. They were a band from Brighton, actually.
Oh, there you go. Well, you've educated me there. I wasn't aware, but
it's cool. Like, you should check that album out. It's an amazing album. I don't know, it was sort of not being afraid of using a major key. There's this thing with rock bands where it's like, it's just all minor, or they use major chords but in a minor, do you know what I mean? And there's something about being like, it makes it more fun if it's kind of happy. Do you know what I mean? So I'm referring to, there's like one bit in the riff, which is, again, that's pretty kind of Rush in a way, weirdly. I don't know why they keep popping up. I learned that, I can't remember who taught me that. I learned it's something from that. There was that little bit of the riff I really liked. So we took the rest of the riff and sort of added that to it, really. So like, so it's kind of pretty dancey and all over the shop. It's not particularly tricky to play. There's a bit of string skipping, but it's nothing too wild. Yeah, and it sort of dances around that. There's a couple of other bits, a bit of a dance bit after the chorus. But again, the rest of the song's pretty simplistic. The other riff just starts halfway through, so we start on the C instead. And there's the little gaps for where Becca will sing the title of the song or whatever, which change. They're slightly longer the first time around, and the second time it comes in on the back, which is vibey. Yeah. But again, super simple chord progression. It's just kind of that all the way through, really.
Some really cool voicings there.
Yeah, so the first, we start with just like a C5, and then to an A minor. Then I've got an E minor with the low E, kind of Incubus style. And then the last one, we're going to a D, played like that. And then I introduced the third, and then we had the 4.
That's the trick. That's the one. That's the stuff. And again, you could play all of those as cowboy chords and then it would ruin it. But this is why people need to learn those sort of different voicings. They're like, when will I ever use this? Well, maybe not often, but it will make that one song.
Yeah, I've always tried to do this. Like initially I'll write stuff around a bass note around what Becca's done, or even, I mean, in this case, the melody came afterwards. It's actually an idea that Josh had for a completely different song.
Absolutely.
And he was like, I've got this idea, and it just fit bang. Like, we maybe tweaked a couple of bits or whatever, but it just fits so nicely over it. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty standard chord progression, really, you know. The D at the end is, we do it as a 5, but it was originally a major, which is kind of a bit, you know, spicy.
Yeah, it's almost an Oasis chord progression, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's very much not an Oasis song. It's a banger. I really like that one cut back.
It's always been a case of just trying to play, you know, just different voicings of chords and trying, you know, it's amazing what you can do even with like the Cage thing that you've, you know, spoken about before, like playing the same one chord in 4 different spots it gives a completely different genre of music sometimes. It's fascinating. Or just like moving notes within chords or whatever, or, you know, it makes such a difference to the sound of it. It's kind of freaky. They all sound so different. Sounds like Kings of Leon.
And you will find a different riff when you're up there. I mean, you almost sounded like you were going into another song there, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's the same thing.
So good for ideas, or sometimes knowing what to stay away from. You know what I mean? That's such an important part of it too.
Yeah.
You've got to know your stuff to know what to stay away from sometimes. But to finish up, I'd begrudge while you're plugged in and playing loud if we didn't play a couple from knowing what you know now. Major system error, like you guys finish your set with it, and plays also in the set as well.
I'm gonna switch guitars because they're in a different tuning completely. So major system error, again, I mean, it's kind of dancey as well, isn't it, in a sense? This was, Sam would play the rhythm parts in drop D for this, just because there's a like a weird, like it was a -7 interval at the end of the riff, and it was easier to play just like that as opposed to doing the string skip. I'll play that bit anyway. I'd play like it's really leady what I play in that song. I don't really play any of the lower strings, but...
Well, you mentioned before that when Sam was playing guitar with you guys, and he's now on bass, that he would do the bricks and mortar of the house and you'd be doing all the fancy bits, basically.
It depends on what, you know, obviously on what song and what he was playing, but often, or what part came first, often would be massively detrimental to what else was going to happen in the song, say. If he'd have the rhythm parts down, which he did for this song, it was then just trying to find space, do you know what I mean, within it for me to play. And a lot of what I ended up playing became, like the vocal melodies for the verse just ended up following the guitar part I had. So, do you know what I mean? It's kind of one of those. The intro, rather than, is this. It was all downstrokes, by the way. I know up and down's a thing,
okay.
but it's all down. So, if you look at Sam while we play this live, because he does all the same parts on a bass now, gets to about 2 minutes in and he's struggling. He's
done.
It's why he's hitting the gym all the time just to be able to do this song, I think, because it's amazing. I mean, I just get knackered doing it, but
it's a workout.
It's so full on. So. So that's the intro. Then the main riff, ZVEX Mastertron, I think. You know the blue? I don't have one of those, but anyway, that's what the sound is. So, and then it was. So that's his verse bit. The pre-chorus just goes to. Into what is the intro again. I think that's all he plays. It's just those 2 bits, 3 bits. The lead bits are just weird. Like, it's a weird part. And then just some weird, like, chord, like, I don't know, it's like a counter chord progression, I suppose. That's all I play, I think.
you can hear, well, that's all I play.
I think that's
no,
it.
You can really hear how that song ramps up the excitement throughout. It's like one big like tension just until the end for 3 minutes. And Becca's voice just shining in that one really exemplifies what you guys are all about.
Yeah, she just sings a high note in that one, yeah. Cool, what was the other one, sorry? Play, did you say?
Play's the other one you've typically played live more recently.
Yeah, it's funny that one. We got the original idea through Becca, Sam and Josh's younger sister when she was really little. We asked, I think Josh or Sam asked her to like count in to like a song and she said 1, 2, 3, play as the idea rather than
nice.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this was funny because I forgot how to play this song. Like I didn't know, we did it on the last run and I couldn't remember what tuning it was in. But it's in drop C, I can confirm.
Well, there you go. You can watch this video back in 5 years when you've...
Yeah, it's funny though, isn't it? Because you do sort of forget, and then muscle memory kicks in. You're like, oh yeah, it's fine, but it's odd. Yeah, so this one, again, not too tricky. The chord progression's interesting in the chorus, in that it ends on a chord that it perhaps shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. But the main riffs are sick, I think. They're really cool. These are all like Sam's, really.
Ah, nice.
So there's the one after the chorus. Which is cool. And there's the bridge bit, which is a similar thing, but just a bit, well, it starts out different, like this. And so on. The verse bits are... And I think the guitar underneath it is just going... Gives them a breather from the other songs, that one.
Oh, that's why it made the set then. Oh, that's great, man. Well, thank you for playing those ones. What guitar is that, by the way?
So this is another Providence, or Fairlane. So yeah, this is sweet. I've kind of like changed this up a little bit actually since getting it. So they originally made it with the black on black, but
Yeah.
we'd sort of did, because it's so funny like ordering guitars over WhatsApp. It's really like texting like, can you do this? Can you do this? Like, yeah, all right. It was black and white. And I was like, actually, I'd kind of like black and black would be kind of cool. And I put a Bigsby on it. We had a vibrola, you know, like the old SGs have.
Oh, of course.
And they look really, really cool, but they just suck. They're just crap. Yeah, this is sick. This is really, really cool. They've got these, I'm trying to think who these are made by. They're Travis Bean style pickups. You know the guitars, the aluminium necks?
Oh, wow, okay.
We record.
I've seen those.
So Ruben used to tech for Foles for a long time, and obviously Yanis played Travis Beans and still does, I think, doesn't he? And he has one himself. So this is a weird thing, is that we recorded Particle on a Travis Bean with the aluminium neck, and they basically hold tuning like a good un. They just don't. They're mad unless it's cold or too hot because it's metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's loosely based on a Deftones song. I'll have you know. I was like trying to figure it out and just did it completely wrong. Anyway, the tuning's wrong even. So, first bit of the riff is here. Cool, like that. And then in the chorus, this has been one of the ones where I've had to kind of figure out two guitar parts at the same time.
Right.
Because my part was like a harmony to what Sam was playing.
Yeah.
So it was a bit like, but it's okay. So I just have to play like the fifths, but with the octave of the fifth. Like so. There's a cool riff towards the end as well. The bridge bit's heavy. Like so. And there's like a little soft bit.
Well, that's all I've got for you, man. We've been going nearly 2 hours, so I think we'll call it there.
Bloody hell.
But thanks so much for your time. Thank you for showing us all these riffs. I'm glad we could do this.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed myself, mate, as you can probably tell. Thank you.
No, absolutely. It's great to do it with the proper gear. And yeah, Cowardice out 26th of May. You guys have got plenty of gigs coming up this summer. And some great festival slots. But you guys have a decent slot of 2,000 Trees. The Clash Finder's just come out.
Oh, it'll be fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, and then just way more next year. Obviously, we're having a baby, so that's got to come first, I think, hasn't it?
Indeed, these things happen when they happen. But great to hear you guys are going to be planning more for next year, and no, we're looking forward to it, man. Keep the momentum up.
Thank you, buddy. It's been a privilege.
Well, that's all. Thank you for sharing your riffs. We'll leave it there.
Cheers. Wicked.